Hello Cancer, it's Marina from the Butterfly Effect, and this is your reading for the summer eclipse, solar eclipse, summer solstice, you know what I mean, 21st of June. Now because it's an eclipse, this reading can run out for 6 months, but you know, at least the next couple of weeks. And we're a little bit melted here. We're a bit melted, it is hot. It's probably going to get a lot hotter. So this is Cancer, Sun, Moon and Rising, but this is your overall message for this period, and it is the Death in the Maiden, which is invasion, boundaries violated and dominance. This particular reading has specific questions for each position to give you an idea of, you know, what successes you're likely to enjoy, what you need to focus on, what you need to avoid, that sort of thing. So let's just start here. Okay. There is a very out of balance relationship between you and another at this time. It may be that you are deaf, taking too much and imposing on another, and all the while blind as the skeleton to the truth. Or it may be that you are the maiden and have no defences against another who is draining you, claiming all of the while to love you. You may have been drawn into the drama and colour and entertainment of a relationship that is full of highs and lows and passions, but you are now discovering that it is tiring, draining and lacking in respect. It is time to truthfully assess this relationship and take steps to be safer, more protected and more respected. Do not attempt to convince death of its problems. Those real people will only draw closer. Those real people will only draw closer. Yeah, cling harder and convince you that you have a problem and not them. You may feel fear as to what they will do once you separate from them, as they are vindictive and malicious. Freedom is worth the trial of separating. Ask yourself, is this relationship healthy for me? And if the answer is no, then you must take steps to go. Okay, stuck one to me already. Put it there so it stops burning. So the success you will enjoy during this eclipse is realization with the sun here. I mean, it clearly can be happiness, but I'm really getting with this combination that it is a case of real clarity in a situation. That it is unhealthy. The Five of Coins is in reverse. You're maybe coming out a period of, you know, feeling abandoned, feeling bereft, feeling a bit at a loss. But with the Seven of Cups in reverse, this is no longer having illusions. So you're going to see things really clearly, and that is ultimately a blessing. I sort of get a feeling of resistance here though, Cancer, with all the other cards that are coming through. But the ultimate goal of this season, of this eclipse, 0 degrees in Cancer, is to move you to a place where you see things as they truly are, whether you want to or not. And the intention that you should set yourself towards is yin, yang and the wheel, to major arcana here, bringing things into balance, and the Wheel of Fortune. And it's ultimately by bringing things into balance that you move the wheel forward in a positive direction. Yin and Yang in its upright position, this is about mostly being receptive. It is Yin in its upright. But to me, this is just about balancing out your internal masculine and feminine, not being too receptive, not being too, you know, yang, driving. And it's just bringing things equal. So if you have been in a relationship where you've very much been passive and dominated, this is asking you to raise or up-level your masculine principle to a place where you can reassert yourself, bring things back into balance as it is supposed to be, and ultimately that is going to move you forward with the wheel. So it can suggest that you need to, you know, really focus on bringing new things into your life. And if there has been a feeling of stagnation, the yin yang, the balancing internally, externally, it starts internally, is what's going to start moving things forward if things have felt a bit stuck. And something you need to avoid, so we have got the Deceit card with the 8 of Coins. There's a relationship here. I've got the King of Swords in reverse and the Queen of Swords in reverse. Probable air signs, but it doesn't have to be, just maybe like that. That's, you know, predominant in your chart, their chart. They're both in reverse. This is like something that's already done and dusted. But it sort of feels like you're hanging on to it and you're almost trying to fix it. You're like working out how to put things right. This is a deceitful relationship. This is probably a couple already in separation. And if they are still together, then there's no harmony between them at all. This is someone, a relationship that has had a lot of manipulations. There's been tactical maneuvers, there's been cheating, there's been duplicity, and yet someone is like poring over the books here. So it could be a work situation, it doesn't need to be romantic. I know that's how I'll read it because that's how most people are drawn to tarot, but this could be in a workplace situation, and yet you're still working really hard on it. You're trying to get the answers, you're burning the midnight oil here. How do I fix this? This is what you need to avoid, Cancer. If you haven't broken a relationship, but it has naturally broken up, or someone has cheated on you or deceived you, you need to stop working out to stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Crikey, I'm getting that hard. And yeah, please look at them. They're both in reverse. There's a complete disconnect here. Look at the Three of Swords. There's heartbreak. Maybe a third party situation. May just be that you're in separation from someone, but it is the Ten of Swords. This usually depicts a masculine, one who has got a little bit of a tendency to self-sabotage, self-harm, blow stuff up. But ultimately, there is an ending here. It's already ended, and it's ended due to deceit, and yet someone here is still trying to fix it, and the fixing is what needs to be avoided. If you've broken a relationship, if you've been deceitful, if you've cheated, then fair enough, you might want to work on it and try and make things right, and at least try and save you know, a modicum of karma. But if you've not, then stop it. Stop thinking about it. Stop investing your time and energy into it. Okay? And the challenge that you'll soon face is more or less saying the same thing. The Angel of Love in reverse. And so this is a disconnect in matters of the heart. So it can signify a divorce or a separation. It can just sort of imply that there's an emotional rift between you and someone else. And it's almost like you could sort of try and stay connected on a superficial basis, but on a deeper level, there's nothing there. There's not enough to keep you there. There can be a sort of longing here or a yearning that, you know, someone comes back to you, or someone sees things from your perspective and you're able to work on things. And you may even be struggling to ultimately let go of this. But it is telling you that it's time to release anything toxic or unrequited in your attachment to someone else. Know your own worth. And, you know, don't give out your heart cheaply. And I really do feel that this is an issue for you, Cancer, because I've got the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So this is somebody who doesn't really want to be single and alone, self-sufficient, independent. They want the Ten of Coins. They want to be settled, married, coupled up. Yeah. So this is something you really need to work in during this period, because this is a challenge you're about to face. So if you're currently in a relationship that is already disintegrating, this is the direction it's sort of heading in, and you ultimately need to deal with your possible codependency or your inability or discomfort at the least of being alone. Because if you're not comfortable being alone and you want this so desperately, you're going to latch on to any Tom, Dick or Harry that gives you the wink. It makes you vulnerable, but not in a healthy vulnerable way, you know, like, you know, showing a heart and all that stuff. It makes you kind of desperate. that you so very much want to be with someone, and you identify yourself as being in a relationship. To you, that's what's whole, that's what's normal. And it's probably, if you were to look through, you know, your history, you might see some sort of pattern in this. You may well be someone who's gone from one relationship to the next, always has one sort of teed up before you leave another, because this feeling of being on your own makes you feel unstable, makes you feel maybe not quite good enough. And honestly, Cancer, that's what needs to be worked on here. And what you need to stop working on is something that's already busted and is over. A helpful resource. A helpful resource is your own strength. Working on your own inner strength, your own courage. Knowing that you're protected. Knowing you're capable of being on your own. And being a way, way more selective than what you currently are being. For the Cancers I'm reading for, bear in mind it can be flipped. It is a general reading. Page of Swords in reverse can mean that the resource, what would be useful, is if you stop communicating. If you're someone where someone is broken up from you, or you're just like, you know, yeah, whatever that scenario is for you, and you're continually reaching out to this person to try and get them to interact with you, give you attention, validate you, you need to cut that shit out right now. That's what this combination is. You need to get your core strong, your values strong, and maybe even try and see yourself from an outward perspective, you know. Treat yourself as if you were your own child. I always think that's really helpful, you know, when you're like, emotions are overwhelmed and things aren't going your way. So imagine your scenario has come to you from your child. It's easier if you've got children. And the advice that you would give that child, give yourself that advice. Be your own mother, be your own father. Be, you know, to your wee busted inner child there. The other thing this could be, if you are spying on someone, or you're feeling like angry, or you want to sort of lash out, what is useful for this period is, yet again, do not give in to this sort of low vibe, petty behaviour. You know, it's an obvious choice here between this and that, and it's clear which choice is the healthiest. Number 6 is an effective way to raise your vibration. So this is sort of an extension of the what you should set your intentions towards, which is bringing everything into balance. And it is saying that the door to healing and happiness is to work in your own broken heart here, with the Ace of Swords. So there might be some clarity coming your way if it's not there yet, but I almost feel it's an avoidance of the truth of the situation, because it's at this point it's possibly just too painful for you, Cancer. But the broken heart is very much about healing the broken heart, which has already been split, and that is ultimately your door to healing and happiness. So there has been, or you know, some grief here, there is a loss here, and using the sort of sword, which may have already been used on you, it's going to sort of reveal a sort of emptiness within your heart. I mean, this pain could have been from a long time ago. It may not even be recent, but it's just something that you've possibly not addressed and it's still lurking. So this is about maybe possibly where you've bottled it up and not stated your case with the Ace of Swords. You might want to vent your feelings, release them to the person involved, or, you know, write them down or speak them out. But all this is ultimately coming down to making your self-care a priority at this stage. Working through letting go of old experiences and old hurts, and coming back to a place of balance. And a special message from the universe is anxiety with the Seven of Swords. If you are suffering from anxiety and stress at this time, It could very well be because someone around you is deceptive, has been cheating, has been lying to you, has even ghosted you. Or indeed it can be your own self-avoidance of the reality of the situation. I use that word loosely because even that has a perspective. But I am getting this overwhelming feeling that something has already dissolved and you're just in a place where you're not accepting it. You're not accepting the part you played in it possibly. You're not accepting that there has been cheating. You're not accepting that they're not interested. There's just a feeling of non-acceptance here. So if you're having feelings of anxiety and stress coming up, you need to sort of get to the root of that. If someone has left you with no closure, that's something you need to work on as well. And because if someone has done that, they've already shown you who they are. And that your dependence on that closure weakens you. And it is incredibly manipulative if someone does that to you. So you need to recognize it right away and get to a point where you don't need it. And then you'll get to a point where you won't even want it. But there is some sort of deceptive behaviour that's either coming from you or the party you're involved in. And the message from the universe is you need to drop it. You need to release yourself from this. This is exhaustion. This is tiring. It is draining all your energy. You may have, again, codependency issues with the devil in reverse here. Or you may have been dealing with someone who had some really negative tendencies or a real negative impact on your life. So slice your lovely little veil off there and look and see it for what it is, because it is going to be revealed to you whether you like it or not. Neptune's gone into retrograde. It is what it is, Cancer, and hanging on to this is making you unhealthy and making you unhappy. So this is the blessing that the summer solstice and solar eclipse will bring into your life. It's going to lay all bare. And the more you're prepared to let go of that and to focus on what it is within you that you need to work on, the easier it is going to be. I don't need to take any advice. It's already there. It's a fairly succinct message. Please like and subscribe. I hope you find it useful, even though it's not particularly pleasant. It is at 0 degrees of Cancer. But with Cancer, you're sort of getting to this massive winding up of this cycle that we've been in. And you must have been in it for like 18 months to 2 years, something like that. Yeah, not long to go. Just hang on in there. And face the situation honestly. Bye-bye.